All right, so I thought long and hard about how to make this a concise video that will apply to pretty much any buyer in today's market, somebody that's about to buy a car from a dealership, new or used. So, and I comprised it to 7 topics, kind of like arbitrary order, but I tried it for it to make sense, and they're all important, all those 7 mistakes. And I'm not only going to list the mistakes, I'm going to give you very simple advice that anybody can follow in order to avoid them and to just, I'm not going to guarantee you the best deal. Okay, I cannot do that. But what I can do is I can help you avoid serious, like being taken for a ride, making a big mistake, something that could cost you potentially thousands of dollars. So that's what I'm going to try to do. All right, let's get to it. So, mistake number one is trust in advice of internet warriors. Internet warriors give you a lot of advice that applies for maybe applied 15 years ago, maybe even applied 3 years ago before COVID. We're in a new reality right now. Dealers adjusted, some dealers adjusted to the new reality, to their, you know, it's a moving target. They're changing things. And like these are just examples of things that are old advice. They're just not going to help you at all, will make the process harder, and might even cost you money, such as hiding the trade, meaning like not telling them that you have a trade until the last moment, lying about things. We'll touch about this later. Not to buy at all on the first visit. So I'm all about I agree that you have to think, you have to do your research, but today with the internet, you can do all your research ahead of time. If you schedule your visit, if you have prepared everything, there's zero reason you should not buy in the first visit, because if you don't buy, you wasted the whole day, and the car could be sold. Especially, inventory for desirable cars could be difficult, so it could be just a waste of time. Yes, think about this. Yes, do your research, but don't set like specific rules that just don't apply anymore. This is another thing that's like an old school approach that may have worked a little bit. Not going to get into details, but basically the advice was, well, if you copy this one email with the magical email and you're going to send it to 10, 20, 40 dealers, somehow you're going to get the best price. The reality is that a lot of dealers will ignore you, so there's no guarantee you'll get the best price. And even the lowest price that you're going to get, there's zero guarantee that you're actually going to get that. And other mistakes they're going to list, you will see how those dealers can get around giving you lowest price advertised or in the email and then just screwing you over completely. What you can do, trust professionals you know. If you know somebody in the business, somebody sold, selling cars, working in the industry, that's your best resource. Trust people you know. Uh, I try to be a trustworthy person. I'm not selling you anything. I have a job. My job is actually training and consulting dealers to make their process better. But don't trust me. Trust maybe more reliable forums. Places like Edmunds.com, they have very strictly moderated forum where their employees give you advice, give you specific information. We run a forum on Reddit, Ask Car Sales, when only verified sales professionals can give you advice. Now, it doesn't mean that advice is 100%. You get what you pay for, it's free. But at least it's not going to be people that what we call bought a car once and think they know everything. And even my advice, take it with a grain of salt. If you watch this is 2024, you watch it in 2026, things may have flipped completely and nothing applies anymore. So just apply a little bit of common sense. If you're really worried, if you have anxiety, if you really don't know what you're doing, and all the dealers in your area are like screwing you over, broker could be a good thing for you. I'm not a big fan of brokers because, by definition, you're not going to get the best deal with a broker. Broker has to get paid. So if a broker cannot buy a car from the manufacturer for you. They will go through a dealership. If a broker can get a deal from a dealership, you can do as well without paying the broker. But if you're worried, if you just want to no hassle, make sure no huge mistakes are made, yeah, maybe you consider getting a broker. Will cost you like $500 probably. All right, mistake number two, being bad at math. It could go in one of the two directions. Usually, what we see is either math too low, unrealistic expectations. People see some kind of special clickbait email and it says $99 a month. So they think, well, maybe it's not 99, maybe it's 120. And they go and expect a $75,000 Suburban to get for some ridiculously low amount. So a little bit of research. I'm not here to push you, do graduate studies in car buying, but you have to be prepared. What is $60,000 car? What it's going to cost you when you spread it over a loan? Another way is math too high is meaning like if you really don't know and you don't know what it should be, then the dealer has the freedom of quoting you any payments. And some dealers still do what's called pack-in payments. Pack-in payment is actually illegal, but it's really hard to prove that they do that. So a lot of dealers get away with that. This is how it works. You want to buy a $30,000 Camry, you go to a dealership, you like the car, you ask them, how much is it? And they bring you a piece of paper and says, well, it's going to be $700 a month for 60 months or whatever. So you don't know if it's a good number or a bad number. So they try to hit you high in the beginning and they have nothing to lose because they can either negotiate down or you say yes, and then you take that stupid number, which will mean not only you're going to pay the car the full price, they're going to pack all kinds of things into it, such as all kinds of protections and warranties that will let them increase their profit, which is just $1,000 from you. So how to avoid this? Just play with online calculator. Edmunds, again, I like Edmunds for whatever reason that they don't pay me, but they're doing a pretty good job. They have really good calculator for loans. Play with their numbers, see what a $30,000 car should be. Uh, it'll give you an idea. It's not going to give you exact number, but at least you're going to know it should not be $700 a month. If you're doing a lease is much more complex and complicated, but there's one good calculator. It's on leasehacker.com. Now, be careful. Their calculator is great. Their forum are just cesspool of bad information and brokers trying to sell you stuff. And those like people that bought a car once telling you, well, you should not be paying more than $200 for Audi e-tron because somebody paid that. Half of them are lying, half of them are concealing information. And at the end, if somebody already got that car for $200 a month, that car is no longer available. You cannot get that same deal. All right, mistake number 3, being bad at negotiation. Now, you're not a professional, most likely. You buy a car once every 3-5 years. They sell a car every day. Hopefully, the managers sell a few cars every day. They're the pros. So it's going to be really hard for you to beat them at their games, but we can avoid certain mistakes. And I'm going to give you very simple tips how you can make it simple and pretty much bulletproof. So a mistake people make with negotiation, they try to minimize their investment, their losses. So they try to negotiate it remotely or look for a car that's really far because it's the cheapest on the market. If you negotiate remotely, you have no leverage. Okay, your leverage is in person when you're ready to buy. Now, if you're ready to buy remotely, it could work. You can say, okay, I will buy this car sight unseen. Here's my credit application, credit card, everything. But again, the risk is you buying a car sight unseen. Okay, maybe not the best idea if you really don't know what you're doing. You have no commitment, they have no commitment. So they could accept your deal, but then by the time you get to the dealership, if you didn't buy it sight unseen, they will just take somebody else's deal. They'll just say like there could be a surprise, could be true or not, but they'll say, well, since we talked, somebody else offered more money. We're going to sell it to them for more. So if you want it, you have to pay more. Or they tack on all kinds of fees. We'll talk about the fees. Or all kinds of things can come up. Legally, until you sign the contract, nothing is set in stone. All your agreements are gentlemen's agreements or whatever you want to call it. So good dealer will honor, bad dealer not going to honor it and just going to mess with you. Another mistake people do is lying. They think that, well, it's easy to be a tough negotiator. I can just tell them, well, you selling the car for 15,000. I can buy a car just like this one across town for 10,000. So good, decent car sales manager will either say, just call you out of it. They'll say, okay, that sounds good. Do you have it in writing? Can we see the VIN number so we can confirm that it's apples to apples? Or they'll just ask you, well, it sounds like a good deal. You should go buy it. I cannot do 10,000. You can just go buy it. And then you'll say, well, how close can you come? Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to come to 10,000. So what are we talking about? So it's really not a good tactic for for any negotiator, but especially non-skilled. Another mistake is asking wrong questions. What is the best price? Is this the best you can do? Don't ask that. It just kills me when that's the conversation, because you ask what's the best price? This is the best price. Okay, it's that easy. Is this the best you can do? Yes, this is the best I can do. So these conversations, if you might fall on really unskilled and like anxious salesperson that will might break, but any decent one just not gonna fall for that. So what do you do instead? Be ready to commit. How are you ready to commit? Like I said, either remotely, you're ready to put a deposit, create an application, buy it signed and seen, maybe buy it on their digital retail tool, buy it online. Dealers can do that, not just Tesla. Or the best thing is just be there in person. Confirm this is the car. You're there. Here's my checkbook. Here's the credit card. I'm ready to go. Here's my trade title, everything. That's how you convince the dealer this is a deal they can have right now. It's really simple psychology. Show it to them that they can have this right this second, not some other deal later for maybe for more money. They might not make a lot of money with you right now, but this is a deal right now. Make a firm offer. Okay, I will buy this car that you have online for 15,000. I will buy it for 10,000 right now. Even if it's ridiculous, firm offer will get you a few things. It'll give you a counter offer, or it'll just you can gouge the temperature if this deal can even happen, if there's any discount to have. Once you made the offer, shut up. This is what simple strategy for salespeople from decades ago. If I'm the salesperson, I tell you, okay, Mr. Customer, this car is with 10,000 down, your payment will be $500 a month. And I can sit like this for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, doesn't matter, until you say something. Use this as a customer. Be the same thing. If just don't keep on negotiating. Make an offer, shut up, see what happens. One of the three things will happen. They will say, yes, we have a deal. They will say, no, we don't have a deal, but here's the counter offer. This is the best we can do. And then you just continue. Or they say, no, thank you. And then we're going to move on to the next step that you can do. But you basically walk out. And once you walk out, you know if there was deal to be had or not. And that's the next step. So be ready to walk out. Now, walking out is probably the one real tool you have as a customer, but this is one strategy that the dealer cannot beat. Now, what's going to happen? If you made an offer and they didn't accept it, you're walking out, one of the few things will happen. Either they're going to chase after you right there, the manager, they're going to be like, oh, let my manager talk to you. Okay, fine. Say the same thing to the manager. Or they can run after you to your car to the parking lot. Maybe they're going to let you leave. They try to call you in a bluff. You leave, they're going to call you back. They might hold a few hours or even a day until the next day to accept your offer. If you made an offer, they let you leave. Day passed, that offer is not possible. Okay, forget about that. You have to either reevaluate your budget or go somewhere else. That's simple. All right, mistake number 4. We got into serious stuff that's really became much more prevalent after COVID when everything became online. We had car shopping online for a long time, but with COVID, it became a real thing. And what happens is everybody can sort all cars available on AutoTrader or CarGurus or whatever, and they can sort by lowest price. And that's how dealers learn that's how they can trick not unexperienced buyers into messing with them. So they advertise something for low price, you come in, and then surprises start revealing themselves. What are the surprises? Bullshit fees. Preparation, reconditioning. So really simple. I wouldn't trust third-party websites like AutoTrader or CarGurus. I would want to, if I found a car on AutoTrader, I'm going to find out who the dealer is. I'm going to go to the dealer website and check what their listing is. I'm going to look for the fine print. If they say the car is $20,000 and there is no other fine print, this is what I'm not going to pay more than that. Okay, I might negotiate, but I'm definitely not going to pay more than that. If I come in and they tell me, yeah, it's $20,000 plus $1,000 reconditioning, preparation, whatever fee, not your problem. If it costs them $1,000 to prepare the car, have them list the car for 21,000. If it costs them $5,000, it's their problem. You don't have to pay for their preparation nonsense fees. Destination fee. This is with new cars. If it's listed, MSRP says $20,000, it should include destination fee unless it's spelled on the website. Okay, if it's not spelled on their website, don't pay that. CPO fee. This is another new thing that we see a lot recently. It's great to buy a CPO car, always recommend that. But if somebody's advertising a BMW CPO for $20,000, if you show up and they tell you, yeah, it's $20,000 plus $2,000 CPO fee, this is 100% bullshit. Refuse to pay that. Don't play that game. Now, refusing to pay, all right, we'll get into that in a second. Add-ons. So another thing, if they didn't list it on the website, you show up and they say, yeah, it's 20,000, but we also installed GPS and we sprayed some nonsense on it, and now it's 22,000. Not your problem. If it's not listed on the website, you're not interested. They're going to try to give you some value statement, but it's good for you and there's warranty. Just cut it right at the butt. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. I'm here to buy the car. We can discuss extras later. You either sell it to me for 20,000 or we're just done. Warranty maintenance. So legally, a dealer is allowed to say, we don't want to sell you the car unless you buy extra stuff. Legally, it's fine. Morally, ethically, it's 100% bullshit. It's also like bad practice for dealers because those things can be canceled. We'll talk about that, not a good thing. But again, all of those things, if the car is advertised for $20,000, we start with that. The fees that are acceptable is sales tax, registration, and one that's kind of questionable is the dealer fee. This differs by state. In California, it's $85 documentation. Some other fees, it's close to that. States like Florida is the wild, whatever, it's not West, but it's wild. And they charge $1,000. I don't know. I guess you have to deal with that. Just maybe compare different dealers and make sure it's not $3,000, but at least something manageable. But you pay sales tax, you pay registration, you pay dealer fee. Registration, they cannot mess with that. They might err on the higher side, but it's impossible for them from the accounting standpoint to collect that money from you and keep it. Okay, they're going to refund it. I've gotten many refunds where I just overpaid for registration. All right, so what do? They say, well, we charge this everybody. We have to charge everybody, otherwise it's discrimination. There are all kinds of like ways to word it. No problem. You want to charge me $1,000 preparation fee? Yeah, just discount the car by 1,000 because I'm paying what's on the website. So demand a discount to compensate for whatever they think is necessary and mandatory. It's never mandatory by the manufacturer or by the law, state, federal government. It might be their policy, which is not really mandatory. But if they want to do their policy, fine, just discount the car. Walk out. Again, they refuse to take it out or discount the car, walk out. Third time or second time, walk out in all caps, because I actually think, my personal opinion, might not work for everybody, is that if you go to a dealer and they tried something like this, the best thing you can do is just walk out and don't even try to negotiate. Go to the next dealer and tell them this is what happened there. So let's make a quick deal without bullshit. If you want to do that, let's do it. Because as long as people either take those fees or negotiate them, the dealer's in the win-win situation. They either get more profit or they make a deal somehow, but they still make the deal. Once you teach them as a customer, you teach dealers that it's a lose situation and they're losing customer reputation, bad reviews, they're going to start learning and that practice is going to start going away, which it should. All right, mistake number 5, trusting verbal agreements. Salespeople, we're there to sell. That's the job. If this is my goal to sell, I'm going to sell you. If you ask questions that it sounds like you want to hear something, I might word things in the way that you will hear what you want to say. For example, like things about, I've heard horror stories about towing. Somebody needs to tow a boat and they go to buy some SUV, and they ask, can this SUV tow my 8,000-pound boat? And they're like, I don't see why not. Sounds reasonable, but they don't really commit, and it's not in writing. So don't expect them to know specific specs. Look it up, look for actual specs on websites or whatever, and just don't trust something that they'll tell you. Now, another thing that we hear these days, yes, talk about specs. Repairs is another thing. Okay, you saw the car, it's scratched a little bit, and they just want to make a deal. You want to get out of this. And like, yeah, don't worry about it. Just bring it tomorrow. We'll take care of it. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for taking care of it. Let's put it in writing. Another thing that's with high interest rates that we hear a lot these days is that salesperson will say, yeah, your rate is 18%, but you can refinance at any time. I mean, it's true you can refinance, but they're not guarantee the low rate. They're not going to help you with the refinance. Dealer's not going to refinance it. And we even heard the worst story on the Reddit forum where a salesperson told the person, yeah, just keep the car for 3 months, and after 3 months, you can just swap it for another one. Now, technically, it's true, you can trade the car, but the salesperson failed to mention that it could cost you $10,000, $15,000. So yeah, refinance, it's possible, but it's not, doesn't mean you should just sign up for any rate that they throw at you. So what you do, you get a we owe agreement and you follow on it. What is we owe? It's a legal form. In many states, like when I did finance and sold cars, we had we owe on every purchase. If there was nothing promised, it'll say sold as is, nothing promised, as equipped, and customer will have to sign. So we have proof that we did not have any verbal agreements. If you do have an agreement, they owe you a key, they promise to install something, floor mats, we owe, they sign, you sign, and follow through on it, which means there will be a time limit on that we owe. If you don't follow up on it, don't show up within like 90 days or something, it's void. So you have to follow on that. Okay, probably the most serious thing that we hear these days is people signing without reading. Basically, we talk about that. That's an important form. And the other one, the most important and probably the one that you really have to think about is the retail installment contract, which is the actual contract, the purchase contract. It's the same form if you buy in the car in cash. What to do? Don't sign without reading. Now, this form is this long and it's like 4 pages, could be 6 pages. A lot of times we hear that it's like a digital form. They'll just like throw an iPad at you and it's a big tablet. Stop, tell them, yeah, I appreciate that it's paperless, but let me read, let me see what I'm signing. If you're not sure, if they say, well, it's not working, just don't worry about it, just stop and tell them, you know what, I want a paper contract. You're totally within your right, not signing anything digital. It's going to be pain in the butt for them to do that. They can print a contract. They can even manually write a contract, and it's going to be totally legal. Now, like I was saying, it could be really long. Do we need to read the whole thing and get a law degree? You don't. Here's what you need to look at. First page, truth and lending disclosure will show you your rate, actual rate, not what they told you what it is, what you're getting. Finance charge will mean how much that rate cost you over the full term, how much you're financing, what your payments are, when you start the payment. Below that will be what's called description of property, the car you're buying. Sounds trivial, but make sure you're signing for the car that you saw, that you agreed on. The VIN matches, the miles match. Second page, you have itemization of amount financed. Again, it's the same whether you buy cash or financing. It will break down all the fees, everything that they add. And this is what we hear that happens. Other than fees, this is the second most sticking point, is that you agree to something with the salesperson, and then people say, well, I got home and then after a week I opened my contract and there's $4,000 for BCVS, some abbreviation, I don't know what that is. So dealers snuck something, some back-end product, and just overcharge you. Now, it's possible it's a mistake. Maybe they tried to offer you something, there was a long conversation, they forgot to take it off. Yeah, it's possible. But it's on you to read that, point it out, and just politely say, yeah, what is this $1,000? What is this $500 key replacement something? And most of the time they'll tell you, oh, it's a mistake, we're going to take it off. Or they'll say, well, we have to charge everybody, then go back to other mistake and just stop, don't sign it, okay? Now, it's possible to cancel some of those things. Insurance products like warranty maintenance, maybe tire and wheel, lease protection, you can cancel. But if it's difficult for you to say no to the finance manager, imagine how difficult it will be to get them to cancel it. It's going to be much harder if it's a tough dealer and like not a nice dealer, it'll be even harder. Much better just not signing the contract if there's some nonsense with it. And the way to get there is don't sign without reading. That's the first thing. All right. And the final thing, I'm going back to the walking out. Mistake people make is not walking out. Sunk cost fallacy. You spend a few hours, you already have this, they already printed the contract, you already brought your trade, and you're like, well, let's just get it over with, and maybe I'll cancel it later. And they'll tell you, well, you can refinance later. Walk out. Stop. Walking out, again, is one thing that dealers will understand. It's your negotiation tool, okay? So if you cannot agree to terms, you can always just walk out. Doesn't matter what they say or do, you can walk out. Old school techniques, if you have a trade, you give them your key to look at the trade, they hide the key. Well, I mean, just deal with it ahead of time, and worst comes to worst, have two keys and screw them. Let them have them $100 key to my 1999 Honda, and I'll just go somewhere else and never come back. Sunk cost fallacy, like I said, people sometimes feel, well, we're already here, we already spent all that time, and they came close to what we wanted, so let's just do that. Again, it's sunk cost fallacy for you. It's the same fallacy for them. It's still, if you spend a lot of time, they spend a lot of time. Have it play against them. Tell them, well, you almost have the deal. Just agree to what we agreed on, do what you agreed on, let's move along. Walking out forever, again, like I said, they're going to learn to do better service only when they see that it's hurting them, when they spending 4 hours with you, and then because of all the nonsense they're doing, you just walk out and you're not coming back, and then they can see the reports. These days, a dealership will get the report of their lost sales. They will see that, oh, that customer, they bought at a dealer nearby, they spent here 5 hours and we did something bad, and this is what we're getting. So that's how they're going to learn. When you do that, bait and switch is a big one. You see this really cheap car on their website, you call and say, yeah, the car's right here, I'm looking at it right now. You show up in person, oh, it just got sold. But here's another one, it's almost as good, almost as cheap, just $2,000 more. This is bait and switch. Best thing you can do is walk out, don't even play their games. Fees, we talk about fees. They try to mess with you with fees, spring up some nonsense, just walk out. They might chase after you and say, yeah, we're going to waive those fees. Then you make the decision. It's up to you. Again, I recommend just not even coming back. Sneaking stuff in. You agree to everything. You get to finance, and then suddenly things come up. Could be a reason to walk out. Again, there could be some doubt that they are making some mistakes, but it'll be on you. And then bullying is what I called when dealers really provide bad service, and we hear about it a lot. When they try to, push some guilt on you, when they raise your voice, when they're not letting you leave, when they insult you, when especially, when the women go in and then just men start belittling them. You don't have to take that. It's 2024. What are we doing here? Let them learn their lesson. That's how they're going to learn. And that's it. I hope you found this useful. Like, subscribe, share it, and just here to help. Put comments if you want video about anything else. Thanks a lot.